Well, it's what happened was is Rick and I played out at McCabe's in Santa Monica, and Brent came by that gig, and when Snake Farm came out, and he does all Ringo's videos, so he burned Ringo a CD of it. So anyhow, some of my buddies called me up and said, "Hey man, Ringo's talking about you on his website." So I go to his website, and Ringo says, "This is who I've been listening to this month. George Martin sent me a Beatle mono thing. Here's a Dylan thing, and Wylie Hubbard, this Texas guy, Snake Farm. Ooh, and I went, wow, that's cool. Pretty weird. So then the next time we're playing McCabe's, Brent comes up and says, Ringo's playing the Greek Theater tomorrow night and wants you to come by. So I went, wow. So we go there, got parking too, really close. And so we pull up there and meet Brent. So Rick and I go back there and meet Ringo and Barbara and all that. I don't know who all was just a bunch of big stars and everything. So Ringo takes me around and he says, "Oh, Ray Wylie." I said, "Well, this is Rick Richards." "Oh," I said, "great drummer." So he takes me around and introduced me. He says, "This is Ray Wylie Hubbard. He's a great songwriter. He travels with a drummer. Doesn't travel with a bass player. Travels with a drummer. That's how brilliant he is." It was really pretty cool. And so then he says, "Come out and sing Help for My Friends on the encore." So I went, I thought he was joking. So anyhow, I'm in there with Brent. They're videotaping the thing. So Brent, about that time, said, "You need to go." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "We want to go out there and sing with him." And I went, So I went out there and sang with Ringo at wherever it was, at the Greek Theater with Help My Friends, which was really cool. So then, this is really weird. So then about 6 months later, for some reason, we were playing McCabe's 3 times that year because of the record. Maybe later, we play McCabe's. We do our sound check. We're going to eat. I was going to get this phone call. "Hey, that's a Joe Walsh." And I go, "Who?" And he goes, "Joe Walsh." And I go, and he goes, "Joe Walsh." And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Hey, man," he said, "Brent Carpenter gave me your phone number." He said, "I don't want to bother you, but on the song Snake Farm, I know that's a Gretsch Duo Jet guitar you're playing. What kind of amp is it?" And I went, "It's a Bell & Howell." And he goes, "What?" I said, "It's a Bell & Howell amp. Bell & Howell used to do these speakers when they have 16 millimeter films they'd show at the military and high school. They'd set the camera at the back, then they'd run the speaker up front under the screen, and that's a Bell & Howell speaker with a Stromberg Carlson amp that my friend Tony Noble put in." He goes, "Oh, what kind of pedals?" I said, "It's a Alan Durham Sex Drive. Charlie Sex and Alan Durham made this compression pedal. They call it Sex Drive. That's the only pedal." He goes, "Oh, man." He said, "Well, I love that tone." He said, "I knew it was a dual jet. I just couldn't figure out what amp it was. Anyhow, I'm in Boston playing this baseball field with these guys. But thank you." I go, "Okay." So Rick goes, "Who is that?" And I goes, "Joe Walsh." He goes, "Yeah, right." So anyhow, then about 6 months later, I get this phone call. Said, "Ray, this is Smokey. I'm Joe Walsh's assistant, liaison, whatever." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Anyhow," I said, "Marjorie Bach told me I couldn't come back to California till I got you and Joe together because he plays that Snake Farm record all the time. So the Eagles are playing in Dallas, and we want you to come up, and, Joe wants to have dinner with you." So I drive up there, and I go to, so we got your room at the Four Seasons. So I go up there, and I meet Joe, and we're getting ready to go in this restaurant, and all of a sudden this guy comes up to Joe and says, "You can't come in here in a T-shirt." He goes, "Oh." So he goes in the golf shop there and buys a golf shirt, takes it off and puts it on, and we walk in. So we eat at this restaurant. So we talk, we just kind of hit it off. We talk about guitars and tone and, recovery and all that stuff, which is really good. So the next day we get in this SUV and go to the American Airlines thing. And the first time I've ever had policemen on motorcycles in front of the car. Hey, that was just, we just sail right in. So we meet Joe and go to the concert. It was really cool because I sat there at the soundboard and was at the sound check. And they all come out and do the sound check. I mean, I'm the only one in there. And it sounds. Wow, it was great. So we go to the concert and then we leave and head on back. So the next day we're, having breakfast or something. They're getting ready to leave. And I said, "Well, here, I got something for you." I said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, here's the Bell & Howell I used on Snake Farm. I want you to have it." He goes, "Oh, man, you can't give me that." And I said, "Well, don't leave, when you plug it in, don't leave it by itself because it's probably going to catch fire any minute. It kind of, you could smell some wires burning, So I gave it to him and everything. So then I guess it was about December or something. I'm sitting here right here on the couch, and Judy's in there opening the mail, and all of a sudden I hear her go, "God damn it!" And I go, "What's the matter?" And she goes, "I gotta lose 15 pounds by February. We've been invited to Joe and Marjorie Bach's wedding." And I go, "What?" So by this time, I have Joe's number. So I call him up and I go, "Joe, I've got a wedding invitation." He goes, "Yeah, we thought we'd invite you to the wedding." I said, "Well, why?" And he said, "I was staying out in Ringo's guest house." And Ringo comes out and he says, "Hey, man, Brent Carpenter gave me this record of this guy in Texas. I think you'd like it." So we go in there and Ringo's playing Snake Farm on his CD player. And all of a sudden, Barbara Bach and her sister Marjorie come in. And Marjorie and I, we look at each other and our eyes meet, and she starts dancing to Snake Farm, and we fell in love. So we want you to be at the wedding. So I said, okay. So anyhow, I got to go out there for this other reason to see my friend Tiller Russell. So I drive out there. So Judy says, get a SUV, a real nice SUV, because the wedding reception is going to be at the Beverly Hills Hotel, right? So I go out there. So I get out there, and something's going on. There's like a Final Four basketball, something. There's nothing. So anyhow, I get this minivan. It's the only thing I can find at this, it's just a trailer on a parking lot. I find this minivan. So I drive off, and so I'm coming to pick up Judy a couple of days later, and all of a sudden I'm driving along, and all of a sudden the front bumper starts falling down. And so I pull into a Walgreens, and I get a paper towel, and I stuff it up in there to keep the bumper. I wedge it up in there. So I pull up, Judy goes, "What the hell is this?" And I go, "It's the only thing they had, to rent." So we're going to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel in a minivan. And I go, "We got no choice." So we show up there we go to this reception that night. It's really pretty cool. And Robert Randolph's playing. And so Joe comes up and says, "We're going to play Snake Farm a little bit later tonight." I went, "Wow, cool. So once you get up and sing, I'm going to play guitar." And I said, "There's a bunch of drummers here, either Ringo or Dave Grohl or somebody played drums, or too many damn bass players, but we're going to do it." So anyhow, we go there. So anyhow, a couple hours later, Joe comes up and says, "Hey, Ray," I said, "We're not going to do Snake Farm. I don't really like these people." He said, "Yeah, so we're not going to, do the Snake. I apologize." I went, "Nah, that's cool, He said, "They're kind of getting, they're not going to listen, It was kind of a party by that time." So I said, "That's cool." So anyhow, the next day we pull up to the Beverly Hills Hotel and go into Polo Lounge, and I pull up in this minivan, and there's Lamborghinis and Rolls and all this stuff. So the valet guy takes it off. So we go in there, man. It's really cool, man. Steven Stills was there. Meet Barbara, sat with her family. They were really nice to us, And so we're leaving. We're going out there waiting on the valet, and like a Ferrari pulls up, and these people get in, drive off, and Judy says, "If that minivan shows up and that bumper's dragging, I'm just going to back up into the room. You get in and go around the deal, and I'll meet you on the other side of the deal." And so this minivan comes up, and I look at paper towel right just barely on. We get in, we drive 4 blocks, all of a sudden the bumper falls off. So we made it. But it was really cool, and he's been really gracious, and could come play Grit and Groove, and that was really fun. So he's a good cat. His heart's in the right place as far as the music, Yeah, man, he's just he's a tone. He's a tone monster. But yeah, that was pretty wild.
I think I was on Walk Away. I think he was playing an old Champ back then.
Yeah, he was asking about that first James gang. It was just a Vibra Champ with I think a telly, no pedals, just plugged into it. I think that's the first James Gang recording.
Wow.
And he was telling me about that. They just plugged in and went. Nobody had money for pedals.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good cat. Yeah, man. See, that's kind of what the book is kind of like. I started, it's almost like if you read it all, you kind of go, Ray Wylie's kind of like this Forrest Gump guy. It says he's just, this stuff happens to him.
Well, if you keep doing this,
you
keep at it, good things happen. You run into to fun situations.
Yeah, like I say, I feel very grateful that, if I look back over about the book, and I've had some pretty, one of the hardest things about the book really was the pictures, going through the wreckage of the past. I mean, like, which is cool. There's a picture of me and Ringo, there's a picture of me and Jerry Jeff. There's a picture of me and Willie. How cool is that? Oh, wait a minute. We both have mullets. I can't put that in there. No, but it's you and Willie. Just the decisions about that was hard,